It is Rey Skywalker's Sunday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. We turn our attention to the latest iteration of very easy meditation and begin with the first of 4 phases of mindful crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we can advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 8 sets, and that'll give you 96. You can gather your 8 sets on your left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of this, our first of 4 phases, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Come, let us demystify enlightenment. If you ask someone who rejoices in being rigid and controlling and elitist what enlightenment is, then their answer will reflect their world view. Let us explore the definition of enlightenment from the worldview of being flexible and laid back and egalitarian. In the Buddha's discourse on the 4 bases of mindfulness, it was inferred that enlightenment was simply mastery of the Eightfold Path. What do we mean by mastery? Practicing it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. So here is something wild. When we make mindfulness and meditation our main practice, the remaining 6 folds of the Eightfold Path take care of themselves. In light of the importance of the 7th and 8th fold of mindfulness and meditation, let's view these 2 through the lens of neuroscience after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Please chant with me. The nudity of the archetypical couple sporting and tantric union reminds us of the vulnerability so crucial to mindfulness. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. What could that look like? It looks like that since the Neolithic Revolution, society at large has been training all its citizens to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, to such a degree that when a minority of only 10% strive to be different, strive to be flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind, they are met with derision. When these rigid and controlling people try teaching meditation, they implore their students to actively focus and actively analyze. Ask a neuroscientist, they'll tell you the only regions of the brain capable of performing those tasks are the neural pathways found in discrete regions such as the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Overwork the prefrontal cortex and we trigger our amygdala, which is the seat of anxiety and aggression. The dark irony is most of us want the opposite. from meditation. We want to be peaceful and loving. Good news, though, if you're still with me, good news, for neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. And towards that end, for this quarter of this live stream, we're going to discuss the sympathetic nervous system. When it comes to mindfulness, every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we're already wired to access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. To help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which I'm sure you would agree is the opposite of concentration. But what? What is it we have evolved to notice? We have evolved to notice mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. So we got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Is there an easy way to do this? Yes. Yes, there is. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we gently nudge our cerebral cortex to cooperate with the sympathetic nervous system as opposed to repress it. Now that we've gone into depth about mindfulness, in a preview of the next quarter, let's do a concise overview of meditation. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are wired to so release what it is we noticed during our previous inhalation that what we noticed could fleetingly feel less solid, less permanent, and less defining. As I mentioned a few moments ago, the fruit of playing with mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so is that we have we're more deeply grounded in the literal experience of impermanence, which of course supports our release. So together as a team, for the next few minutes, let's meditate. Now before we do, I want to take a moment to remind you that in the most ancient Buddha statues, he is not depicted sitting in the full lotus position, but merely the quarter lotus position, where one shin is stacked upon the other. If you can't do this, that's fine. Don't force it. Give it time, and just be patient, and time and energy will open up not your knees, but your hips. So let's go. Welcome to the second quarter of this morning's live stream. Or should I say the second of 4 phases of mindful crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we can advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by our left hand's 8 sets, and you'll wind up with 96. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. Since this is our second phase, our second quarter of this morning's practice, let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Now, you need to do a quick edit. Okay, thank you for your patience. Let's continue. Whoopsie, it looks like there's something weird going on here. Ah, that was an error on my part, guys. I apologize for that. Let's see if I can't remedy that. Please chant with me. The translucent... Take 2. The translucence of the archetype of all good father and mother depicted in paintings reminds us of meditation's experience of impermanence and non-graspability. So we'll begin with a review of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, let's try this again. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, we are already wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. But what happens when we exhale? Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired to access our sympathetic nervous system, our parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of our spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system supports both physical relaxation as well as the mental release that helps us, that is known as meditation, wherein we release what we noticed during our previous inhalation, as if that which we noticed was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, any good English teacher will remind us that a simile is only as powerful as it is relatable. So we have to ask the question, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand? So not only have we just demystified the idea of Buddhist emptiness, but we've circled back to the second of 4 benefits of practicing playing with mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so. And that is, we have a deeper understanding of the right view of figurative emptiness that supports our mental release. So, together as a team, let us meditate right now. And as always, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. L'chaim. We come now to the third quarter of mindful crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 8 sets, and you have 96. We count those 8 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of this, our third quarter, we could rest the great knuckle of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing this, oopsie, wrong button. Doing this could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the heart region of our chest. Please chant with me. The beauty of the archetype sky blue kuntu zongpo and cloud white kuntu zongpo yam yam reminds us of the highest love, spontaneous and uncontrived. So first things first, I'm going to hit the word, paste here. And I'm going to copy. Okay, so we're going to begin with review. During the first quarter of this early morning's live stream, I explained that when rigid meditation teachers convince their students to actively focus and actively analyze, it triggers the anxiety and aggression latent within their amygdala. I'm not sure that's the right word. The amygdala, which is the seat of anxiety and aggression. No one wants to be a cranky bastard. People would rather be loving. People would rather be Mr. Rogers than Mr. T. So what happens is these people, victims of the sunk cost logical fallacy, just return to focus and analysis, and this time they focus on love and analyze love, and expecting different results, but they just get more of the same, more anxiety and aggression. But there's some good news. When we practice mindfulness as easily as silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, thus facilitating the vulnerable, passive, visceral, random, and fleeting notice of mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination, we calm the tyranny of our that our anxiety and aggression can wield over our choices and utterances and deeds. In other words, we are less controlled by our anxiety and aggression. Simply by silently and mentally reciting the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, all the anxiety and aggression we might have noticed during our inhalation could be released. But there's more. Simply by practicing this mindfulness and meditation, we stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, which here is represented. It's shaded magenta, kind of looks like the letter C. This bad boy functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, the root of compassion and love. This is exactly why the late Tulku Thondup insisted that if we rely on focus and analysis, the best we will contrive is an analog of love, pale and shriveled and powerless. However, the highest love is the spontaneous, uncontrived, and effortless fringe benefit of training in mindfulness and meditation. And that's really useful because 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, 50% of what it means to be a Buddha, is comprised of loving kindness. Kind intention, kind communication, kind conduct, and commerce that is as cooperative as it is kind. All this simply because of mindfulness and meditation. Therefore, for the next several moments, let us play with mindfulness and meditation together. And remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, please type your question in great detail in the chat window. Okay, coordination, don't fail me now. We come now to the fourth and final quarter. What's this? This is 86. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so we come now to the fourth quarter of mindful crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we can advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. When we multiply this by 8 sets, that'll give us 96. And we can count those 8 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of our fourth quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or our imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the crown region of our head. Please chant with me. The stability with which the archetype sky blue Samanta Bandhara sits, and the abandon with which cloud white Samanta Bandhari sports, reminds us of the effortless effort of centered spontaneity. A moment, if you please. In a nutshell, let us review a concise explanation of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, let's try this again. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, fleetingly notice 3 categories of things. First, we are wired to notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Second, we notice that we desire some things and dread other things. And third, we notice that we tend to resist the absence of what we desire, as well as resist the presence of what we dread. Now let's explore a concise explanation of meditation. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that we wind up releasing our resistance to the absence of what we desire, as well as releasing our resistance to the presence of what we dread. What does that mean? Does it mean our preferences go away? Of course not. They're locked in as a survival mechanism. But what fades is the tyranny that these resistances have or exert over our choices and utterances and deeds. Now, you could understandably be concerned that we are setting ourselves up to be just a milquetoast whip, to be just a doormat for life to scrape its muddy boots on. But here's something really interesting. The more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more our choices, utterances, and deeds begin to flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. Nope, not the scattered spontaneity we might experience after our 4th espresso, but the centered spontaneity that is the effortless momentum generated by our practice of mindfulness and meditation. Now, there are many terms for this effortless effort. Some might call it going with the flow or surfing our Buddha nature. What if Buddha nature was simply a charming Iron Age way of describing the fact that there are facets of our physiology that support the Buddha's path? Now, in the digital age, thanks to imaging technologies such as functional magnetic resonance imaging, we have discovered that our sympathetic nervous system is the seat of mindfulness, that our parasympathetic nervous system is the seat of meditation, and that our anterior cingulate gyrus is our seat of empathy. Every healthy human is wired to not only practice the Buddha's Eightfold Path, but master it, to get so good at it that we practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. And the whole process of mastery need not take longer than a week or two. So, together, as a team, let us meditate right now. And please remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, please type your question, in great detail in the chat window. Allow me to draw your attention to this drawing. Every time we inhale, we are wired to generate a vertical traction between our head and our tush, and every time we exhale, that traction is wired to release to a certain degree. In the words of Obi-Wan Kenobi upon or aboard the Millennium Falcon, you've taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 3 hours or so, I would very much like to return to today's mid-morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.